Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Hudson with Accessible Pursuits Podcast. I'm again along with my partner, Greg Traynor. We have an awesome guest today, a guy I've known for a very long time, Jeremy Kerr. I think you guys are going to be excited about the pursuits that he's got in life and the passion that he has. But, Greg, man, how are you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm doing really well. Getting ready for Easter weekend here in Pittsburgh, PA, and just getting things done, getting things set up for the weekend. And glad to be able to talk with you and Jeremy today. I always look forward to this, and I think it's going to be another good podcast, man. Thanks.
Absolutely. It's just awesome being able to highlight people going on with life despite whatever these injuries or whatever may throw our way. We keep trucking. But Jeremy's one of those guys I always love chatting with, man, and he's just always on the go. But Jeremy, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, Mike. How are you, brother?
Man, just enjoying this change in weather. I wish the wind would stop, but I like to see those sunny 70-degree days.
Oh, I'm telling you, man. The other day I was out, and gosh, that wind gust was up probably 30 miles an hour, man. I thought I was gonna get blown over in my chair a few times, But I mean, it was beautiful though. But yeah, I don't really like that strong wind. I love
No.
the. You can't really enjoy sitting out there with that strong wind blowing at you.
Well, man, we've had so many crazy storms over the last little bit. You never know when we're gonna get something whirled up.
Oh, I know. Well, uh, I was looking back at a Facebook post. Gosh, I think it was back in 2017 where when I lived in my old house, had a decent size ramp to go up, and I don't know, a wind gust caught me there one time and flipped me backwards, and thankfully I landed in some crabgrass and I didn't get hurt. But you got to be you never know what could happen.
You got to figure out how to tuck and roll is what you're saying,
Yeah,
huh?
I
yeah.
I can't remember when we've had storms like this, so it seems like the wind has just been terrible this year. And I don't remember having storms like this in the recent years. So we definitely got to be careful and keep an eye on the weather when we're planning something for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But Jeremy, man, thank you again for coming on today, dude. And man, I value your friendship more than anything. But if you will, just kind of introduce yourself, how you got hurt, if you don't mind. And we got a couple topics we were going to zing off of you, but if you just
Okay,
give us a
yeah,
little
sure.
intro, yeah, man.
All right. Well, I'm Jeremy Kerr. I'm 43. I've been injured for 24 years now. I'm a T4, T5 paraplegic from a 19-year-old young and dumb, and made a bad choice to drink and drive. And then a police officer tried to pull me over, and I guess deep down, or I sort of watched too much Dukes of Hazzard growing up, but I tried to outrun the police officer, and that didn't turn out too well, and ended up breaking my neck in two places and my back in three places that left me paralyzed from the waist down. But I knew right away once I sobered up, and the next day knew that God spared my life for a reason, and I'm here for a reason, and I'm thankful for each day God gives me here. So, and I've been married for going on 14 years now. I have a beautiful 9-year-old daughter named Anna, and uh, but anyways, yeah. And did I say I live in West Union? I don't remember if I said that or not. But anyways, I live in West Union, South Carolina now. Sorry, my cat's getting in the picture. So you
But
might, y'all might have to edit that out a little bit, but it's all right.
dude,
It's all good, man. That's
it's
part of the journey.
it's a family show. We welcome pets, kids,
Yeah,
everyone's welcome. We don't exclude anyone.
yeah, yeah.
That's kind of what we wanted to talk about, man. This podcast forum is about chasing pursuits and life in general. And yeah, we can't see you at all. He's gone.
The
Uh,
diamond, my cat. Oh yeah, that's another one. Anna named that cat Diamond. I wanted to name it Goose. We got a black cat named Maverick, and
there you go.
I wanted to name the white one. It's Siamese, but I was gonna name it Goose from Top Gun. But she all of a sudden decided to name it Diamond, so I got a stripper cat name right now, Diamond.
Hey, man, it is what it is. But
Yeah,
that's kind of the thing we were going to go on is just life and families. Despite the injury, it throws kind of a curveball, and we have to figure it out. So I know you brought up Anna. how does things go for, you guys with daily life and wheelchair? I know you do phenomenal as a dad, but is there anything that's kind of quirky or
Well,
that you find different?
now that she's a little older, it's a
Yeah.
lot easier. But man, when we got her when she was 17 months old, um, I'll give you a little backstory. Me and Jenna, we tried for a while to have our child, or have a child on our own for a while, and we went to fertility and spent a few grand on like trying the IUI route and stuff, and it just didn't work and wasn't our time. I mean, so I prayed and talked to Jenna. I was like, well, let's just pray about it and see what happens. Because we almost went through with the, I guess, in vitro, but that's so expensive too, And we got to talking, and we're like, there's a lot of kids out there that need adopting, And so we prayed about it, and man, God's amazing. It wasn't long. Like Jenna came home and said that the lady she works with has, there's a child that her sister got into some trouble, and they needed us, wanted to know if we would keep her for a little while and sort of do like a kinship care type plan with her. And sure, we agreed, and from the first moment I saw her, I knew that's who God had in store for us. That was going to be our daughter forever, and sure enough, it worked out that way. But you just never know. God always has a plan for us. You can't, if one
Yeah,
thing doesn't work, there's always, he opens up another door. So,
absolutely.
but as now, but I was going to say, when she was when she was young, man, it was quite difficult. Mike, you, uh, trying to change diapers in a wheelchair, pick
Oh
them up,
yeah.
put them in your trucks, the car seat and stuff. It's a little difficult. I remember one time I was just taking her to daycare, and she had an accident right before getting put her in the truck. I mean, it ran out everything. I was trying not to gag, so I threw her up in the passenger seat and changed her diaper. And I tell her about that story all the time now, and she starts laughing. Oh, daddy, what? But you know, and then as she gets older, it's actually she's a blessing too, because there's things that we can't do on our own that she can help, like getting stuff out of cabinets that I can't reach while I'm cooking. Different things she'll help. She sometimes she sees me struggling going up a hill for out and about. She'll just get behind me and start pushing me. And so normally
Yeah.
I don't like people doing that, especially strangers. But when it's your daughter, you welcome it. But you've been in public and people come up behind you and start just pushing you, and you're like, who's touching me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does change a whole different spectrum. My daughter was 18 months old when I got hurt, so I fully get it, and you're trying to figure out all the do's, don'ts, and how do you do, and
Right.
but it gives a whole new perspective, man, and it's awesome too because it also gives the children a whole different skew on life where they don't see limitations, or even if they do see those limitations, it to me, and this is just my opinion, it broadens their horizon where they're figuring out new ways to give back and to help dad, kind of
Right.
go and do. But
Yeah.
And one of the things too, I mean, when she's helping around the house, that's just normal things that the children do. It doesn't matter that you're in a wheelchair in a seated position. Children set the table, children help with dishes, children do a lot of things. So it's not just specifically because you're in a wheelchair, but if she
right.
can reach things that you can't, that's just part of the daily preparing for dinner and being part of the family and instilling good values and doing chores around the house.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and also like I was thinking back, there's some things that, being in a wheelchair, you wish you could do. Like, I mean, it would be easier, to be able to go outside and play with her like an able body type deal, one of
Yeah.
the, some things she misses out on, like when we go out to like my father or my brother-in-law and their kids, and she's out there playing. Which I mean, I'm grateful. My brother-in-law, everybody, they play with her just like that. But I miss that. I wish I could be able to do stuff like that. I mean, we'll go out and we'll throw football together, stuff like that. I can do still, but it's still there's some things like you just, man, I wish I could do that, and have that experience with her as well. But I mean, I'm grateful. I mean, we go I'll get my hand cycle. We'll go bike riding together, all of us, and there's still tons of things you can do. You can't let those things like that get you down. You just got to keep on keeping on and enjoy what you can do. So
Well, that's kind of the pursuits we're looking at is, you know how it is, man. When we first get hurt, we trying to figure out what we can do in life, how we can do this. And fatherhood's no different, but it's like you said, you highlight those things that you can do. You figure out new ways to continue to go and give. And yeah, I wished I could do things the way I used to, but that wish train's long gone. And
yeah.
you're right back into it. I know we talked a little bit earlier, and you were sharing a story about going to the zoo. What you guys got some more plans? You went to the zoo this year, man. How'd that go?
Oh, it was awesome, man. We took Anna. This is funny. We took her to the Riverbank Zoo when she was about 3, and so she didn't really remember it. But boy, me and Jenna remember it because I think it was in about June, and it was hot in Columbia, South Carolina. It is hot down there.
Yes, it
I mean,
is.
they had no air movement, nothing, and being T4, T5, boy, you could feel the disreflexia hit. So like I said, with this last zoo trip, we always plan to take stuff, extra stuff, extra water, stuff like that. If we get too hot, we can dump it on us to try to cool down,
Yes.
cool our bodies down since we don't do that naturally, sweat enough to do that. But anyway, so back then we took her when she was 3. She enjoyed it. I mean, but on the way home, I don't know. She did not enjoy that car seat. And for the 2.5 hour drive home, it was nonstop crying. And I told Jenna, I said, I will never bring her back to the zoo. Uh, but I guess I broke that promise. But nowadays she travels great. But man, it was awful. 2.5 hour drive, just the constant cry. There's nothing you can do to calm them down. But thankfully, this time she's 9 and everything was good. But I did, like I said before, I make sure I had plenty of my supplies. I always take extra catheter stuff, extra bags, just in case something happens and stuff. And now I got this wound vac. I take the plug in where I can charge it in my truck if I have to. You just gotta be prepared for. You never know what could happen. I mean, you might have to stay the night somewhere. So
Well,
you just gotta.
Jeremy, you bring up a really good point. Mike and I are both dealing with pressure wounds now, and it seems like you are as well. We've all been quadriplegic, paraplegics over 20 years. 26, Mike's going to hit 30. We've never really experienced the pressure wounds that we are. Do you want to talk a little bit about maybe the wound vac, people that don't know about that, some of the extra things you have to do with a wound, even on a trip on a day to the zoo? You're talking about taking a charger and maybe how that limits you, or some of the things that you have to think about that you didn't for the first 20 years.
Oh, absolutely. Well, um, I guess I've had this wound, I guess going on, I don't know, 5 months now, 4 months, something like that. But I originally got it from the hospital, ended up, I guess, gosh, 2 years ago, but they ended up doing a flap on it and it closed up or whatever. But I don't know. So it just broke down again. And so it's on my right ischium. And I mean, thankfully it is getting smaller, but they recommended a wound vac, and I've had one they tried before they did that first flap surgery, but it's just a small vacuum device where it's got a special sponge that they put in, pack into the wound, and then they seal it off good with tape, and then it just sucks. They can set the different suction on it. I think mine's set on like 150 right now, but and you just keep it on all day. They usually come out 3 days a week. A nurse comes out and changes mine 3 days a week. But it can be a little annoying for sure, because sometimes if it loses suction, it gets a little louder. Sometimes it makes these awful noises at the wrong time. And usually it's at church, and everybody's looking around and staring at, wondering what that is. But But I mean, it does its job. It's just a little aggravating. You always have something attached to you, and you got a tube, and it does pull fluid and drainage out of it. So, but at least it does, and it also cuts back on infection. I meant to say that as well. So, are you both using a wound vac as well now?
I'm using one sporadically where I'm still waiting on probably transitioning to a different type bed, just to offload some of that. But I've never had to use one in my 30 years. But it's just quirky how these things come on, man. And bodies aging and everything that we face sometimes. Yeah, this is the first time for a wound vac with me, and they're telling me about negative pressure here and pulling the suction there and how it does better. And I hope yours is healing up pretty fast. These things they're crazy, man. We can get them so fast,
Right,
and 5 minutes later, we're dealing with a wound that takes us 2 years to get healed, and
right.
I,
it's
I've
just
used
bizarre.
I've used one in the past, Jeremy. I'm a long term on this thing. It's been almost 3 years for my pressure wound,
Wow.
and I've used the wound vac, and it wasn't successful for me. I know it works for a lot of people, but my pressure wound's on my bottom, and like you said, you're sitting on it, and it just didn't give me the good results. But I know a lot of people have success with it, and I sure hope you do. Um,
Well, the first time years ago, and I was younger then too, so your body, you have a better chance of healing the younger you are as well, And I had like the original wound vac that weighed about 40 pounds, and it took, like Mike said, though, I was in an air mattress and pretty much stayed in the bed pretty much off and on. I'd get up a little bit during the day. Granted, and I was 19, 20 at the time, but it did heal, but it took a year. And granted, that sucker was, you could get your fist down in that thing. It was so big, right on the sacrum part.
Yeah,
Thankfully, this one's not as big. It's just, I think she measures like 2 centimeters across, wide, and then it's gotten down to about 3 centimeters depth. And one of my tunnels is like, it's gotten down to like 4 or 5 right now. So I got one tunnel. That's the only thing that's aggravating. If I didn't have that tunnel, it'd heal up a lot faster. But those tunnels, they can sort of hinder you a little bit. But it is healing. It's just slow. And Mike, like you said, you're talking about getting a specialty bed. I have one of those air mattresses that sort of um, fluctuates, off and
yeah,
on. And I sleep in that right now at night, which is aggravating. I miss my mattress for sure, and Jenna misses
yeah, yeah.
um, sleeping beside her, but she knows we got to get it healed, So
That's
when
the kicker, is the stuff we face after these accidents or ailments. It's just none of it is ideal, but at the same token, we kind of deal with what the cards we've got, and that's just a part of paralysis. It's the and that we've covered that before on podcast. Is we do the best we can with the situation we're dealt, and it gets down to the point where you have to make good choices and bad decisions, and we have to try to figure out what's going to be the best for our lifestyle, and not let it just completely offload or derail us.
when you were traveling, Jeremy, you said it's about a 2.5 hour drive. Is that correct?
yeah, absolutely.
When you were driving down that far, did you have to plan in extra wait shifts or stops, or when you were at the zoo getting in line, did you have to deal with extra issues of pressure relief, and how did you deal with that?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you asked that. Yeah, I always try to do pressure shifts and stuff every 20, 30 minutes. But thankfully, I saw on Facebook, I don't know if y'all have ever seen it advertised, but it's the ease cushion they came out with, and it's powered. It's like my air mattress. It's got like 4 chambers across, and it'll pump up, like you can set it for different settings. I think mine's every 30 seconds or so. It'll release out of some chambers and then start pumping up more chambers. So it's actually shifting for you, and it's also generating more blood flow down there as well. Granted, Medicare and stuff don't cover that right now. So, I mean, it's expensive. It was about a $700 cushion, but I figured it was worth it. Then, think about how much money you spend going to wound care and stuff like that. So far, I liked it. I've had it for about 2 months now, and I really like it. And it's a little loud, like I said. It sounds like a air pump, but not like a real loud air pump, but you can hear it pumping up. And so, like when you're at church and stuff, when they start to pray, I'll turn the button off for a minute until they get finished praying, and then I'll turn it back on. It's not that loud, but you get used to it as well. But so I didn't really have to worry about doing too many shifts while I'm driving, thankfully. But while I'm there, I mean, I always still try to lift up and move around, even with this, But so far, I think it has helped my wound get a little smaller, anyways, and it gives me a little more comfort knowing when I am up that it's helping a little bit, So.
That's one of the things, man, about injuries, and you brought that point up, is we got a pressure shift anyway, but since I've got a wound, man, I fidget more and try to get off of it more, be a self-aware. But it's just one of those things. Again, we can only do the best we can do, and then just try to keep it from totally taking over our lives. But man, it's always a blessing, dude, just trying to figure out new ways to go and help. And so, that's what I enjoy about these podcasts, is being able to share more and more about ideas. And you brought up a great point about the cushion. Do you know what was the name of it again?
It's called the Ease Cushion. You can go, I think their website's like easeseating.com or something like that. It is EASE, and it's awesome. You can see a lot of videos on it. You can even download an app, and you can adjust your settings on that if you want it more mild or moderate, or like extreme. If you do extreme, I think it does like every 10 seconds it'll let air in and out, and stuff. I usually just do the regular, but I mean, my battery, the battery lasts on this thing. I'll be in my chair 11, 12 hours and it's still got plenty of battery, So, yeah.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Jeremy, because I had not heard of that. Mm-hmm. And we'll put a link into this that, people can check that out, because I think that might be an option for a lot of people, including myself. I'm definitely going to research that. And it's good to hear that you've had a good experience with it and you're, seeing a little bit of success with it. So thank you for mentioning that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. When you said it makes adjustments, you just do it like off an app on your phone, or
yeah,
how does that work?
Yeah, it is. You just hit a button and make it. I think you could. There's 3 different settings, or you can customize it to your liking and stuff. But I usually do like the normal whatever setting it is, just because I try to save battery life as well. I'm sure if you do like the extreme all day, it would probably cut your battery down a little bit. But I don't know. I might try the moderate out today and to see if I notice a lot of changes in the battery life, But I guess really and truly it just depends on if you're going to be up. If you're going to have to be in your chair longer than 11, 12 hours, then just do it on the low setting, Yeah. If you think you're going to get into bed earlier than this, you could do like the extreme or whatever, and it probably lasts 6, 7 hours, I'm imagining. So,
yeah.
Now, Jeremy, when you were at the zoo, did you have any issues with accessibility getting into the exhibits, or everything was pretty much fully wheelchair accessible that you and the family could enjoy together, or did you have to sit out on the sidelines on some of the things?
Pretty much down there, everything was pretty much accessible. There was a few, there was a few hills that were pretty steep, but I mean, it didn't stop me or nothing from doing that. But that was something to take into account. If you do go down there, there's some hills, you'll get a good workout unless you're in a power chair. And I was hoping Mike would have been down there at the same time, so I could have hitched a ride on the back of his power chair. We could have had the train.
Wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be the first time.
Not at all. Not at all.
We'll
Uh,
have to plan that for sure, man.
yeah, absolutely. Also, but no, and then I think, and then obviously they got some stuff for kids that they can do, like the rope stuff and stuff like that. Obviously, that's not going to be accessible for us, but really and truly, they did a pretty good job of accessible. All the buildings, main buildings you go in, like the aquarium, all that kind of stuff, you can get in fine. There's plenty. The bathrooms, the ones that I've used, they were accessible, so there was nothing. I think anyone in a wheelchair that wants to visit the Riverbank Zoo, they are not going to have any trouble down there. So
Yeah, yeah, it's a good zoo, man. They really try hard down there. But like you said, man, Columbia in South Carolina, summertime, dude, it is hot and there's no air moving.
no,
But
no, I go down in March. That's what we did. We went towards the end of March, man. That was perfect weather. So now I
yeah,
would say I did forget about this part. The botanical garden side,
mhm, yeah,
that one you can cross a bridge, and then they got like a trolley that can come and pick you up. But the line was so long, and I was like, man, Jen, I don't really want to wait here all day long on that trolley. And if you do walk it, man, you're talking about a hill, you'd get a workout. And so I was like, we'll just skip this time. But they are now. The cool thing is, I think by next fall they're gonna have like a sky lift thing that will take you from the zoo part over to the botanical gardens, and it's going to be accessible where you can get on that lift and it'll just take you straight across the river over to that side. So,
nice.
That sounds awesome. And Jeremy, you brought up a good point about the heat. And I know Mike and I have both used the cooling vest. Have you ever used a cooling vest whenever you're out, down south?
I have not, but Mike has told me about it a few times, and I thought about getting one. What I use right now is I got one of those 24-volt misting fans. Like if I'm outside in the garage working or whatever, I can turn that on, and it sits over a 5-gallon bucket, like a 5-gallon paint bucket or whatever, or Home Depot bucket, whatever, and you can fill that up with water, man, and turn it on mist, and it will. You can set on high, medium, whatever, and it will cool you down. It's really nice. I think it was like $130, but it was nice and stuff like that. But I definitely am thinking about the cooling vest for if I'm out fishing or something like that on the boat. I mean, that'd be great. Um,
Yeah, for a lot of the people, they don't know, with our injuries, with the spinal cord injury, I know Greg and I, we can't sweat any. It doesn't matter if it was 200 degrees outside. It just not sweating, or like in your case, it's just minimal sweat or whatever, and we have to kind of mimic sweat with water, or like you say, dump water on us, or take some of the cooling towels and dry off, or if it gets down to it, just take a cup of water and dump on ourselves. And it's just one of those things. Again, it's just part of the injury, and we just have to be prepared for it. But what else you guys got going on this summer, man? Any more trips? Or I know Anna will be getting out of school here soon.
yeah, just a little bit over a month they got left of school, so she's excited about it. I'm sure we'll probably take a trip down to the beach, probably end of July, 1st of August, just because um, Jenna started back to school. She's been an LPN for gosh 12 years now, but she wanted to finish up in her RN, and so she's been going to school, and so she should be done in 2026. So she's still got a little ways to go, but so we sort of have to plan stuff around that right now, for her school schedule and stuff. But she's enjoying it. She's doing really well. Going back for RN, and I told her just don't stop there. Go ahead and get your BSN and then get your nurse practitioners and be done with it,
Exactly.
because everybody, and where she works, she's worked at a pediatric doctor's office for years, and um, some of the nurse practitioners that are down there like telling her, all right, Jenna, you're getting your nurse practitioner. You got to be a nurse practitioner here. So she might. I mean, she's smart enough to do it, definitely. I just don't know if she wants to do that much schooling or not, but we'll
Sure.
see.
Free healthcare, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know how it is. Mike was, and with our wives and stuff. I mean, we're thankful anyways. I mean, Jenna is a nurse, but you know, your wife's a nurse as well. Your wife, Greg's a nurse. So, I mean, they take care of us when they have to, and we're blessed to have someone that always, you know, if we do need something, they're always there for us. You know.
Jeremy, you bring up a great point that, our wives, if they're not nurses by the time we meet them and are married a few years, by the end of our relationship, they could teach to
Yeah.
any university how to change catheters, how to change wound dressings, how
Right.
to do whatever. I mean, I am so thankful and definitely blessed that Beth is willing to do this stuff for me and is never shy or squeamish about it. But I wanted to touch base about your beach trip. Do you plan on renting a power chair for the beach, a track chair or a beach chair, or have you made any arrangements so that you can get down on the water with your family?
Well, yeah, actually, we went last year for a week, and I actually was thankful to, and blessed to contact Waymakers here in South Carolina that our friend Jacob started, and it's an awesome organization. They'll if you make reservations with them, you tell them the week you're going, they will actually meet you that day you're there, and they'll drop it off and deliver it to your hotel or wherever you're staying, and then for as long as you're there, and then they'll come back the day of your leave, the day you're leaving, and pick it up, and it's all free of charge. So that's what I did last year and had a blast. It was so much easier, you know, going down. I do have a grip wheelchair and stuff, and I mean you can muscle your way down there, but it's hard. I mean you get a workout, and it's this way with the tank chairs and stuff. It's a lot easier. I can load it up, put our stuff on it. That way, Jenna and Anna's not having to carry everything, and trying to help me struggle across there, even with that grit chair. So it made a huge deal in our vacation last year. It was just it made it way more enjoyable than years past. And if I wanted to just go down there by myself, I could. And so I really enjoyed that. So if anybody is in this area and thinking about going to the beach, hit up Waymakers because they're always there and willing to
Yeah,
help.
man, you hit the nail on the head, dude. We're very blessed here in South Carolina. Talk about God making ways, and Jacob and them getting hurt, and then he's starting a nonprofit that's what they do, and we've got Georgia and South Carolina really leading the charge. A lot of state parks making changes, bringing track chairs out, and then Waymaker and them doing it free of charge for people, and we are very blessed in the being able to do it. But I like what you said too about being interactive, with our track chairs, and Roar's done it before where we'll send chairs with people. I tell people all the time, but it's easier for us to have Jacob. They live right there at the beach.
Right.
You don't have to trailer one of our chairs to go down there to do it. You just get in touch with them, make an appointment, and they'll bring it out to you. But I'm with you, Jeremy. It makes a huge difference when I feel like I can be interactive, tote some of the stuff on there. I'm not one of the balloon PVC beach chairs. It's like an oversized stroller.
Yeah,
And
I've
if
been
and
in
if my
those.
wife gets tired, man, she
Yeah,
can
Sure.
she can stand on the back and I can pull her out of there.
yeah,
Those beach chairs, guys, you're exactly right. The beach isn't always completely flat, especially up here in the north. You have to go down over a berm. And some of the older hotels will offer that beach chair, but you need 4 or 5 strong, healthy people to
Yeah.
push you down and not let you get away and roll into the ocean with the thing. And then how the heck do you get it back up over the berm? With just your wife trying to push you in the chair and all the beach gear and stuff. So Jacob is doing an amazing job down in South Carolina getting these chairs, power chairs to people that need it. And along those lines, South Carolina and Georgia, you guys are just leading the way. The Georgia Outdoors Beyond Barriers, the Amy Copeland Foundation,
Yeah.
getting these chairs in the hands of people that need them free of charge. There's some organizations that want to charge you so much for a day and things like that, but you guys are blessed with organizations that provide the drop off, pick up, the use of the chair for free.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we
And
are.
that's the kicker, Jeremy's representing the day. And we bring people out and play frisbee golf and, do clay shoots on the Roar property. And it's just those chairs, the technology, not only when we're talking about wound vacs and all those things that make our lives a lot easier. And that's what these podcasts are about, is just open up the more empathetic dialogue about community and showing that you have all this equipment out there, and these things they're a lifesaver. They're a game changer. Joking around or not joking around, got my first one in 2014. Is the first time I could hold my wife's hand and stroll independently down the beach. And
Yes, sir.
man, it is just something amazing. But
It is now. It can be a little. I didn't realize how much publicity I was getting, by having one of those chairs on the beach. But man, I had numerous people come up, and I'm sure y'all are used to it, but I wasn't, and they'd come up and start talking. Hey, that is so awesome. How much did it cost? Where'd you get it? And thankfully, I was able to tell them and plug Waymakers, and they had a lot of family that were disabled as well, so they were curious about it. So they get to know, or they were able to find out about Waymakers as well. So that was a blessing too. But yeah, it was a little overwhelming. You're trying to hang out with your family, and then everybody's coming up to you. And, oh, that's so
you should
awesome.
be used to that, man. You're a superstar.
Yeah.
Jeremy, the only thing that draws more attention than a track chair on the beach is a service dog.
Oh,
Big,
that's
big,
true.
big wheelchairs and cute dogs, and
Yeah.
I guess girls in bikinis draw a lot of attention.
Yeah.
So you
I
you
don't
got
know. I don't know. You made a good point though. Those old beach wheelchairs, the PVC. I don't know. We got attention that way too, because they're probably like, look at that 40-year-old guy in a stroller.
Yeah.
yep, exactly.
The positive is, Jacob and them have done a good job where they've put some devices on their chairs that say, who they are, where they got sponsored at, but it's about opening up community and showing that these devices are there and they're ready to go. But it's an awesome opportunity that we're able to get out there and open up that empathetic dialogue for somebody along the beach, and just let them know, because so many people don't know
Yeah.
that these products are even out there, let alone that they're available.
Yeah.
And as these chairs become more popular, hopefully some of the resorts see how much better the track style chairs are, and give up on these older balloon wheelchairs and invest in the new equipment in the track chairs, and get people out that can use them, because it's not only people with disabilities that will benefit, but what about our older population that can't walk down the beach with their loved ones? And Grammy and Grampy still want to be included on the beach vacation. Wouldn't it be wonderful if every hotel had 5 or 6 of these and it became the norm, not the exception?
Hey, I will say this. I felt bad for um the custodians there at the hotel though, man, because every time I'd come back up from the beach, and that's one other thing I meant to mention too. It was a little nerve wracking too, trying to get on the elevator with one of them big old things, because I didn't have the narrow 30-inch when I had the wide, so it took me a minute. I was a little scared at first, but I made it and figured it out. But man, every time I would get off the elevator onto our floor and on that carpet, I'd leave a huge track every time with sand. I was
And
like, man, I bet you they were ready for me to leave after that. But
and it's one of those things. The devices are fantastic, but you got to figure out where to charge them and how to house them, and they open up a whole different realm too. But Greg hit a point. The more we can open up and show that how these devices work, the more that hopefully more grants will come available, and for people to be able to get them. More states and more legals and those that are in the norm, and the lawmakers that can make change, maybe insurances and whatnot will finally kick in and just show that these chairs are our everyday chair as well.
Right.
absolutely, yeah. Hey, Mike, I meant to ask you, how's the pond coming along, man?
Man, you bring up a good point. I'm getting ready to set up something. I was going to send you some dates. We're going to get ready to do some clay shoots and some other stuff over here. But the pond's good, man. The pond's done. Um, Filling up with water. We've already built a deck, putting in a new pier starting next week.
Nice.
And man, me and Greg covered this topic not too long ago. And ever since Hurricane Helene, dude,
Right.
we got nailed here. Everything is taking so long. But to get a whale company here, Jeremy, took 6 months on a waiting list
Wow.
because everybody was so inundated and backlogged on work. And
Sure.
so whale company is supposed to be here in the next 15 days.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, that's good. Do you know how? Well, I guess you won't know till they get there, but I was just curious how far you think they'll have to dig down to hit some good water on your property. Do you know?
Yeah, our neighbors and stuff, and talking to them, it's gonna vary. Just whatever they can hit a good pocket for a water table.
Uh,
But the pond's gonna be between 12 and 15 feet deep, and vary. But we'll put in a solar cutoff so that when the pond's full, the pump cuts off.
nice.
Probably looking at about, I don't even know as far as depth, man, to be able to tell you, just varying off what our neighbors have.
Right. Yeah. Well, you've got on the back side of your property, there's a pretty good sized creek in there, Mike.
Yeah.
So maybe it won't. You don't have to go too deep before you hit some type of pocket down through there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Jeremy, we appreciate you coming on the podcast as always, man. You're a very interesting guest. You have so much to offer to the community, and even Mike and I picked up a tip about the ease cushion today that I'm going to follow up on and check that out. I think that might be something I could use personally. Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about? I know we're running a little bit long on time, but want to give you guys the opportunity to send us out with last thoughts.
I was just gonna say, I'm looking forward um, to this weekend, especially being Easter and
Yeah.
just being with my family and celebrating the greatest love of Jesus Christ, who loved us so much, who died on the cross for our sins. And well, I'm just looking forward to that. I'm sure you guys are as well. It's always a special time of year. My girls are excited. They always get them new dresses each, Easter, and try to coordinate a little bit, and so it's just a good time. And then good meals usually after church, and so just looking forward to that.
Yeah, man, you brought it up, dude, and that's what it's all about. My faith, my heart, man. I'm just excited to be able to spend time with family and bring it home. Being able to share with others what really gets us up and gets us out every day. We're here for a purpose and we're here for a reason. I have no doubt and I have no qualms in saying I know exactly why I'm still here. And
Yeah.
I hope you guys have a phenomenal weekend. And hopefully the weather will do as such. But man, thank you again for being on today, dude. I truly appreciate you, man. I love you, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the invite and love you too, man. And yeah, y'all have a great weekend as well. Are you gonna have some of your grandkids coming over this weekend for egg hunts or something on the property? You gonna have some eggs? They gonna hunt some Easter eggs over there, Mike?
No, man, we're gonna do a little cookout and we're going over to my sister's house,
Oh,
man.
there you go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They
Greg,
get.
what do you guys have planned for the weekend?
On Saturday, we're going down to tend to the bees at the farm, and Sunday, I think we're going over to Best Brothers' house and have dinner and celebrate with those guys. So busy weekend. We put in about 10,000 bees this week, so we're going to go down and check on our dependents and give them some sugar water, and then celebrate Easter on Sunday.
Awesome. That's
Sounds
awesome.
phenomenal, man. And thank you guys again for coming on and being able to share a little bit more about everything we've got going on. Look forward to many more years of being able to do this, guys.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, it's a great podcast. I appreciate you inviting me on.